Welcome to the suburbs with Andy and Greg. I know people who can only eat one item at a time on their plate.
I'm kind of like that.
You don't want to commingle.
Kind of just work my way around.
You do realize that stuff all mixes together down the way a little ways.
I'm aware of that.
Okay. So what is it? Is it a texture thing?
Neurosis.
Yeah, well, I know that. I didn't want to point out the obvious.
I don't know.
It's always been that way.
It's a pattern.
That's kind of like being at a family Christmas gathering where everybody opens one gift at a time. You go around in a circle.
Right.
And you open one gift at a time.
Yeah. Who plays Santa?
We did that at my grandma's, and Keely's like, can we just open the presents? This is like an all-day event.
I've got knitting to do. People, I'm a busy person. You know, I'm a nurse and all.
Yeah. Bring that up at fried chicken dinner.
I will not.
Hey, Keely, would you explain to Andy that you're not a nurse?
What's the difference?
Yeah. Why does this chicken taste different?
Why does mine taste so bad? Could you go get your hat and your cape and your acrylic shoes?
You're the guy that's making fun of the lion at the zoo.
Without a cage.
Yeah, the lion's on the other side of a little wall. Have you seen guys do that at the zoo?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Don't you wish they were eaten? Just like right in front of everybody.
Like that baby rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh, disgusting. I'll never unsee that.
He just turned his head, little jiggling foot hanging out of there.
When we were in Tucson, we went to the Desert Museum, kind of an indoor-outdoor kind of thing.
Desert Museum.
It's very cool.
That's a very broad statement.
They had an animal area, and Jennifer's brother's like, we got to see the live animals, desert animals. Okay, let's go.
But I wanted to see the sand. They've got the sand in a jar. I wanted to see that.
And a million cactus.
So, okay, you're at the Museum of Sand.
The animals were all
nocturnal.
Hibernating. Another friend of mine told me, well, if you go to the Desert Museum, you've got to see the hummingbird aviary.
They're all running into windows.
Well, I wish they were. So we go inside the aviary. There was one hummingbird. Should be hundreds. You're supposed to sit there for hours and just watch them. The spiritual, peaceful moment. We're like, we're out of here. No peaceful, spiritual moment right now. Moving on to the nocturnal animals that you can't see.
That are napping under a rock.
If that.
Oh, do you remember the urban legend about a guy who buys a cactus at a plant store and gets it home and the cactus begins to swell and they're like, what is going on with this cactus? And it swells and cracks open and a nest of tarantulas come out.
True story?
No, urban legend.
Oh, urban legend.
I was telling my dad about it because I ate it with a spoon the first time I heard it. And he's like, it's an urban legend. That doesn't happen. Well, how do you know it doesn't happen? Are you the clearinghouse for
urban legends? How about the House of Blue Lights? Let's talk about that one. That's fake. A light bulb.
They've got a park named after the people that owned that house, I think, now.
Blue Light Park?
Blue Light Park, yes. For a long time, a lot of country farm people thought that it was a special from Kmart, but... You know how we've got the Circle City Classic and the Circle City Parade.
With the infamous marching bands.
Oh, those bands are so good.
They are fun.
Oh, man. That is a parade right there.
Like Mardi Gras.
It is. Grace was the white chip in the cookie in an African-American dance company, Ibadah, and they danced in the parade. It's a long parade route, and they go past one place that's like government housing. There's a woman who's in a wheelchair. She's wearing a nightgown.
Okay.
She lifts the nightgown to scratch the area, showing everybody in the parade.
Oh, look, there's Old Glory waving in the wind.
You talk about things you can't unsee. Oh my gosh. I'm walking with his mom and I see that. And it's something where in the moment, somebody else needs to experience this with you because it's unbelievable. I tap her. I go, oh my gosh, look at this woman in the wheelchair. She looks back at me like I caused it. My friend at the lake has a next door neighbor who's, I guess, during a certain time of the year when it's the darkest part of the year, she has that seasonal...
affective disorder?
Yes. And she's bipolar on top of it. We were talking about the different things that Jimmy leg medicine can cause. And she's on that medicine. She came over because her husband works weird hours and she just can't be alone. So my friend and his girlfriend, and they've got this high top table, and instead of like bar stools, it's antique saddles.
Oh my.
You sit on a saddle at the table. She's sitting on this saddle, riding the saddle in a way that would be like a Cinemax movie. And her hands are searching her body for pleasure. And she's like, oh, I'm not wearing any underwear and I love riding this saddle right now. Can you imagine having a neighbor just come over, say hi?
More wine?
Yeah, right. This is better than any TV show I've ever watched. And she's like, oh.
Did she have a big pacifier?
No. Boy, that just wrecked the image.
In a bonnet.
Can you imagine? I think you get neighbors like you get siblings. You make friends because your friends either accent your life or share similar interests and hobbies and things.
Sure.
But you don't pick your siblings or your neighbors that way.
They just appear.
They do just appear, and apparently some of them appear without wearing underwear, wanting to ride the saddle at your table.
Did she smoke a cigarette after a bit?
She capitalizes their day. They're too nice to say, please go home, because she's been institutionalized.
Stop masturbating on my chair. Or keep masturbating on my chair.
I think it depends on which party you are in this scenario.
Enjoy the show. I had a friend of mine who was a flight attendant her whole career with United Airlines out of Chicago. And she said that one time they were on a flight. They hadn't even closed the door yet, and the guy was asking for peanuts. Yes, you'll get your peanuts, no problem.
The circus and flying are the two places that he frequents. He's like, where can I really get free peanuts?
So this guy just kept asking for the peanuts. So one of the flight attendants went and took the box of peanuts and dumped them on the guy.
I thought you were going to say shoved him up his ass.
Here's your peanuts.
Dumped him on his head.
Whole box of them.
Had they closed the gate yet?
Excuse me, miss.
That is beautiful. You know, there are compartments where staff can go sleep, hang out, play cards.
Yes, there is. All those international flights, they have crew cabins below.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure there's some stories about those, too.
I would like to see the video.
That's right.
Saddle up.
Saddle.
Smoke them if you got them.
Early on in my career, I worked at a studio on the north side of Indianapolis, TRC Studios.
Oh, yes.
Famously known as the studio that is now owned by the Bob and Tom Show.
Uh-huh.
Tom Griswold owns it.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, he was a client of mine.
Oh, okay. When you were known as the Blade.
The Blade. There was a musician here in town that was wanting to be a staff writer for our production company. We had our own jingle company.
Oh, okay.
And he was a very creative person, and he found some interesting ways to get the attention of the owner of the studio to finally say, this guy does have creativity. I think I'm going to hire him. They hired this guy. The first weekend that he was hired, he and another buddy came into the studio with some girls.
Okay.
Let's go to the studio.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Talks his way in and finds his way out.
It was all good. He had keys. He had the code. He worked there. He was an employee. He'd been employed for an hour.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So they'd come over. They're going to listen to some tapes.
I see.
Basically show and tell.
Okay.
They were drinking.
Yeah.
One of the girls vomited on the white couch in the control room.
Were they drinking like red punch?
Something like that. They went to Kroger and rented a rug doctor or something and cleaned the couch.
Okay.
No one will ever know. It all worked out, but it was just the irony of hired on a Friday and
barfed on Saturday.
Next night they're in there showboating with the girls, playing tapes, hanging out in the studio. Blah. Another incident.
Okay. Nice.
Similar.
I can't wait. So you could talk about barfing on a couch, but if I show you a picture of my wound, you're throwing up.
Yeah. So during a session, couldn't tell you who or when or what, but we were recording in the evening. Back in the 80s, there was a lot of hanging out.
Uh-huh.
Nowadays, it's all work.
Mm-hmm.
Just get it done.
Somehow the fun got funneled out of that.
You're right.
There's hanging out with some illicit hanging out going on, but there's also just being a part of something.
It's a vibe.
It is a vibe.
And it was cool. I mean, it's no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Until this moment when some chick dumped a frozen daiquiri that they were making into the console.
Oh. Fireworks aplenty.
Session stopped.
This isn't the blender.
The lights came on.
Uh-huh.
Everybody take 5.
And take her out of here.
The console had these removable modules.
Uh-huh.
So we took these modules that were tainted to the kitchen where we had a sprayer, unseated all the IC chips, and then took the sprayer and sprayed off the modules. Then we took a hairdryer and dried out all the chip sockets.
5 days later.
Put the console back together, the 2 modules we had to pull out, it was only 2, and fired it up and it worked. Mission accomplished.
Wow.
Talk about a daunting moment.
So that's not a hairdryer in the bathtub episode.
We got lucky.
Was she asked to leave?
This party's over.
Yeah. How in the world was she even in this? That's like a separate booth, right?
Well, she's in the control room. They were making drinks in the kitchen. So she's just hanging out. She just had her cocktail and whoa, oops, sorry.
Had a Dick Van Dyke moment.
Is that going to be a problem?
You see that saddle?
Yeah. Ride it. You're going to be on that saddle for hours. Your punishment.
In this age of apps, I'm in the final stages of moving things from my dad's house. I have a few items that are going to Carly's house, so we need to rent a U-Haul trailer. Kind of relive my college days.
So there's a trailer, not a truck.
Trailer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not that many items.
Okay.
Refrigerator that he had in the garage, miter saw that he had in the garage, and 2 fire safes. And then the rest of the stuff I can manage without a U-Haul trailer.
Luckily, he didn't keep the fire safe in the fireplace.
Yeah, that was gas, so that wouldn't have gone well.
Oh, sure. That would have been a problem.
Yeah, it would have.
In the garage. Safe place for the safe.
Do I smell something? Yeah, it's the fire safe.
Burning. It's not burning. Good.
Right.
Doing its job.
Yeah, those tax forms from 99 are safe because...
Your high school homework.
Yes, right. That crayon drawing. He actually had my art class project from when I was like in the 4th grade. We did ceramics, and I made a mug.
Yeah.
And he still had that.
Oh.
I found that in the garage in a discard pile.
Full of nuts and
He
bolts.
felt guilty getting rid of it, but it was moved to the garage. I found a Father's Day card in a cabinet in the garage. I found cards from people in his sock drawer. He couldn't get rid of them, but he didn't want them.
Hide them.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Slowly moving him closer and closer to the trash.
Yes. You rent things from U-Haul these days via the app. I wanted a 5x9 trailer, and it's got high enough sides that we can use ratchet straps to keep the refrigerator from toppling out on the interstate.
So this is an open trailer.
Gotta be, because the clearance of the refrigerator.
I understand.
I had experience moving heavy things by myself with an appliance dolly. Those things are amazing. They've got the strap around it. I moved Grace's couch up the stairs by myself with an appliance dolly as my partner.
You demand.
It served its purpose well.
The armoire out of your dad's bedroom?
With an appliance dolly.
Of course you did.
Yes. That dude came back.
He did.
Yes. When we sold the house, we no longer needed to stage all the furniture.
Yeah, you told me that it'll be in the garage.
Yeah.
And it was.
It was. He said, "Who did you hire to move that?" Those were his words. And I said, "My son-in-law and I moved it with an appliance dolly." "Oh, appliance dolly." I was like, "Yeah. Do you want to go see it?" It's in the garage where I promised it would be. The dusty white pages that fell on your head,
Trash.
we dispensed of that. We go to the U-Haul place, and of course, the ones that are near me don't have the size of the trailer that I need,
Of course not.
even though it's a week in advance. Like suddenly there's a run on open air U-Haul trailers.
Welcome to America.
I don't know what they're moving with it. Apparently refrigerators. And so I have to go down to the Land Time Forgot, southern Indianapolis, near 465 on the south side of Indy.
Okay.
We go there, and I'm pretty sure that everybody that had just been released from prison is working at this U-Haul.
It's their work release program
They're tattooing a tear below the eye in between customers.
for all the pissed off customers.
Right. There's a pile of bodies in the back, people that decided to argue with the staff.
Orange jumpsuits.
Yes, which happens to be a color of U-Haul, so they blended in perfectly. They just stenciled on U-Haul. One of the guys that's helping me looks at me and he says, "We don't have that trailer or the appliance dolly." And I said, "It said you did when I..." And he goes, "Yeah, I know. The app is a liar." "Okay, so what do I get?" And he goes, "You've got this 2-wheel dolly here, and we could hook you up with a smaller..." I'm looking at the trailer, and I can't believe they have them that small. I'm like, is this for a clown car? What is this trailer for?
For a children's plastic refrigerator.
Popcorn maker. Somebody that can't move a skillet because they're a hoarder and they have no room in the car. This is for the skillet. I can't move a refrigerator and 2 fire safes and a miter saw with this. And he's like, buddy.
Here we go.
Buddy? Am I your buddy now? That's it. Hey, friend. Okay, friend.
Hey, bud.
Right. And he's smoking while he's trying to hook up this tiny
miniature trailer.
Barbie has kitchens bigger than this trailer.
Was Peter Dinklage driving the car? I'm just asking.
It's like his chariot. You know that look? That's the trailer. It looks like a chariot, except chariots were bigger. I said, I need the appliance dolly. What is my option? Matt is just trying not to be confrontational because he sees the tattoos of tears with this guy.
Hopefully I'm invisible.
Yes, he is trying his best. He's like the baby rabbits. He's blending into the chain link fence that they've got, with the barbed wire around the U-Haul place. Because that's a hot demand item, hot U-Haul trailers. They convert them to Penske trailers.
Of course they do.
He's like, we've got these, and that's all we've got. And it's just a regular 2-wheel dolly. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been on the tipping side of a side-by-side freezer as it's going over because it's not belted onto an appliance dolly?
No.
Then all of a sudden you're the
squish.
Yeah, you're the omelet in the relationship. I said, I guess we'll use the ratchet straps to make sure that this appliance doesn't fall off the not appliance dolly. Can I upgrade to a bigger? I've got more need than this thing has cubic foot of space.
You said foot. Cubic foot of space.
Yeah, right. That's even too much.
Literally.
Cubic inches. Like I said, Barbie's sink is bigger. So he's like on his phone looking on the app. The trailers, the bigger ones, the Russian nesting dolls.
Sure.
Okay, this is like the smallest one. I'm looking at them and he goes, well, buddy, those might be rented. Really? You guys do that here? I know they might be rented. Are they? Could I upgrade to that one? Because this isn't what I rented. And he goes, well, let me check. He's got smoke from his cigarette getting in his eye, and he's trying not to point the phone at the sun because you can't see the screen, and he can't get the app to work. You know that the door to the store is like right in there. Do you guys have like a master list in your computer system that would let you know if this trailer is rentable?
Now you've become his manager, giving him suggestions.
Yeah, right. I got up at 5 to drive from Mom's to drive to the south side of Indy to get the trailer. I was listening to our podcast, accomplishing something. I've got goodwill and good intent in my heart. As I'm suggesting to the guy.
Now you have Black Death in your heart.
No, I don't. Not yet.
Okay.
It's down the road. It's just later. Later that day, he goes in, he finds out that I can actually rent one that's bigger. I guess the reason is because it doesn't have a harness to hook it up to lights. Bah! Who needs brake lights on a trailer? I mean, why would you need that?
Optional.
It should be.
Yeah.
All of them climbed into one little appliance, and then they shook it to get all the brain cells to get into like one mind to be able to think like, oh, that's where the lighting harnesses are. And so they got that and they hooked it up. And then we got the 2-wheel dolly that's waiting to injure somebody. We put that in. We're like map questing how to get to my dad's house from the land that time forgot. The ramp has been, it's like the bombs that guy was selling landed there. So we've got to go around the city to get to my dad's house, and we get there, and this fire safe that looks like a harmless 4-drawer filing cabinet is over 500 pounds.
Oh, my.
Trying to get that on a 2-wheel dolly.
Ain't gonna happen.
Didn't. So I'm selling it with the house.
Oh, my goodness.
They're like, we don't want that. And I said, what do you think it is? A filing cabinet? No, it's not. It's so much better than a filing cabinet. It is a fire safe. The side-by-side freezer, on the other hand, the ratchet straps, we got 10-foot in length ratchet straps, too big. It worked strapping it to the chariot so that when we were taking it to Carly's house, it didn't topple over and become a hazard on the interstate. But for the purposes of going around it from one side to the other and then securing it to the 2-wheel dolly of death, the straps were too long. The 2-drawer fire safe was the weight of an elephant. So we were able to like corral that one in, and the miter saw in the freezer. And then we went to Carly's house like the Clampetts moving. Getting there, I couldn't believe it. I'm seeing this lane ends sign up here. Hopefully that's on the other side of the bridge and we can get to the interstate from here. No, you cannot. So we've got to go to L.A. via Omaha.
Hi, this is Andy. If you enjoyed listening to our podcast, please be sure to subscribe and share. Remember, laughter is contagious. Help us spread it by telling a friend.